over 4 has a 1.96 ERA and 14 starts for them. You knew Seattle and Oakland probably weren't going to be factors in that race out there, and it's been beyond disappointing, especially for Seattle this year, with the way some of their additions have performed, like Jesse Winker, Eugenio Suarez, Robbie Ray. At least with Oakland, they're a young, inexperienced team that continues to fight. In the NL East, the Mets have seen the lead dwindle to just 5 games as Atlanta has gotten really hot. This division has a lot of offense. The Phillies got hot after firing Joe Girardi, and so I think this is going to come down to a 3-horse race as those two teams close the gap a little more. All 3 of those teams have offensive firepower, but if it comes down to it, the Mets and the Braves have the best pitching of those teams, and that can make a difference. The Marlins have been better than expected, but I think they're still at least a year away from being competitive. And Washington may possibly be the worst team in Major League Baseball. NL Central, St. Louis, and Milwaukee are tied at the top. Milwaukee was really hot to start the season, but they went on a really long losing streak, gave up first place. Now they're tied at the top. St. Louis is getting great performances from Nolan Arenado, Tommy Edman, Paul Goldschmidt, and Harrison Bader, Tyler O'Neill, and Daniel Carlson have started to produce after slow starts of the season. And rookie Nolan Gorman, in just 93 at-bats, has been really hot with a 280 average with 6 home runs, 17 RBIs in the course of 29 games. 4 of the starting pitchers are having great years as well, with free agent acquisition Steven Matz not having a great year. I believe his ERA is over 6 right now. Milwaukee doesn't have any hitters with great average, but Willie Adames and Hunter Renfroe are hitting homers, as is Rowdy Tellez, who is their pleasant surprise, hitting about 250, 10 homers, and he leads the team in RBIs. I don't think they could have expected that when they brought him in there. I think they could use another bat or two. And their starting pitching outside Corbin Burns and Eric Lauer has been a bit of a disappointment, especially with Brandon Woodruff there. Pittsburgh has suddenly gotten hot, risen to 3rd place in the division behind rookies O'Neal Cruz and Bly Madras. Brian Reynolds and Ke'Bryan Hayes, the 2 top veteran players on that team, have started to play well lately. I think Hayes has been playing well pretty much all year, but Reynolds struggled to start the season. And veteran pitcher Jose Quintana has reemerged as a decent and respectable starting pitcher, but I just think with the roster, looking at the roster they have right now, it's 3rd place is overachieving for them, and that is the absolute ceiling for what they have right now. Cubs are falling off to 4th place. Got a couple solid offensive players, but their pitching and their defense have been what's killed them. Cincinnati, one of the worst teams in the league. Looking at their roster right now, I don't know why people thought they would be anything else. Maybe it's before the trades, but right now the surprise top contributors have been Kyle Farmer, Alberto Alomar, Tommy Pham, and Brandon Drury, which are all guys that haven't really been featured players any time during their careers. And honestly, it's an awful-looking roster on paper, and it's been just as awful, if not worse, on the field. In the NL West, the Dodgers, Padres, and Giants are all multiple tiers ahead of the Rockies and the Diamondbacks. I still like the Dodgers to take this division because they're the deepest team, particularly offensively, once they get things rolling, especially with the bench players they have. And they're usually a decently aggressive team at the trade deadline. So they're going to be acquiring some kind of asset that will help them throughout the rest of the regular season in their playoff quest. The Padres' managerial change seems to be working, as they are currently tied with LA for the first in the division. They do need to get better offense from guys not named Machado and Hosmer. The Giants, to me, they're a similar team to San Diego offensively right now, with a little worse pitching, I would say, and I don't think either one of those pitching staffs lines up right with the Dodgers pitching staff, even though the gap is certainly closed with the injury to Walker Buehler. I think Arizona and Colorado have been better than anyone expected, but they're still below 500. But the good news is they're not like 20 games under 500 at this point, like I feel like many people thought they would be. Christian Walker's power has been impressive. I believe he has 18 or 19 homers for the Diamondbacks. He's hit a lot of hard balls, but his batting average is hovering around the 200 mark. It needs to be a lot better than that going forward, which I think it will be once those hard hit balls start to drop in for hits. Alec Thomas, the rookie recently called up, has been a huge bright spot for that offense. Hit another homer earlier today, and the pitching has been okay. Zach Gallen could be a player that playoff teams are after. still a young player, a guy that has a future in the league. And Madison Bumgarner and Zach Davies have had better seasons than anticipated so far. Colorado has only gotten 17 games out of major free agent acquisition Chris Bryant, so that makes the way that they've played, even though they're near last place in the division, even more impressive. First baseman C.J. Cron has been a monster offensively, and shortstop Jose Iglesias is actually playing at an all-star level. You knew what he could do as defense. He's hitting .303 at the plate, which is huge for him this year. Ryan McMahon, the power hitting second baseman, third baseman, or whatever the hell he plays right now, has been hitting better lately. They gave him a big contract extension in the offseason. And Charlie Blackmon, their center fielder, is starting to mash the ball again. He's got 11 homers this year. Randall Grichuk, who they got in a trade with Toronto for Raimel Tapia, has also been a productive addition in the outfield. You knew he was a power bat. His average has been down a little bit the past couple of years, but he has started to hit more near his career average for this season and provide some power. And both these teams play in the tough division. Colorado specifically has a bad pitching staff that's not going to allow them to compete. So it's between the Dodgers, Padres, and Giants. I like the Dodgers still, and Colorado and Arizona are probably going to be selling off at the trade deadline. Lastly, in golf, the LIV Tour has poached another PGA star. Brooks Koepka has become the latest to join the Saudi Tour. He's currently ranked number 19 in the world, and for a while back in 2018, he was the number 1 for 47 weeks, and he has won 4 majors in his career. He's expected to make his LIV Tour debut in Portland on June 30th. I didn't try to do a Q&A this week, but I'll try again for next week's show. So that means that's going to be all for this week's episode. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and whatever podcasting platform you're listening to. And I'll be back next week with more sports news.